So this is the breaking point. Most podcasts call it quits before they ever hit 10 episodes. Of the roughly 2 million podcasts, and this is a number I got from an article that I'm going to link off to in the footnotes, only about 26% of those 2 million will make it to or past 10 episodes. So this is episode 10. Welcome back to Grinding to a Halt. That was the intro, and this is just the beginning. So of those 2 million plus podcasts, why do only 26% make it to the 10 episode mark? Just speaking from my own personal experience, I think there are a couple of factors that might cause people to stop so early on. So I'm just going to list those out, run through my thoughts of why those might be, and then some of the things that I personally have thought or felt as I've been putting together the show. So number one, just ideas. Simply the ideas start to run out after the first few episodes because it feels so organic. You reach out to the couple guests you want to talk to. It's a new endeavor. It's really exciting. And that excitement really carries me through the first couple of episodes. And then you start to lose steam a little bit. It becomes a lot more work because those initial 4, 5, 6 things that you thought would make for good episodes, or those people you wanted to talk to for those first episodes, you've done that. Now, how do you continue to grow? How do you continue to evolve in a way that feels natural and organic to you? It takes a little bit of work. So once those things start to slow, once that initial creative burst comes and it becomes work, your approach has to change a little bit because your mentality has changed a little bit. And there's this quote from Stephen King in his 1993 short story collection, Nightmares and Dreamscapes. And I think it sums up my experience pretty well. And in the quote, he's talking about believing everything when he was a kid, and how that childlike belief, the pursuit of art, and faith are all kind of tied up in this bow that allows him to be creative when all of those things are working together. And I am lifting the book right now to read it because I did not want to type it. So here's that quote. Yet faith comes into it someplace. And I think that place has to do with going back to the same thing again and again. Even though you believe in your deepest, truest heart that you will never be able to do it any better than you already have. That if you press on, there's really no place to go but downhill. You don't have anything to lose when you take your first whack at a piñata, but the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and the 34th one is to risk failure, depression, and in the case of a short story writer who works in a pretty well-defined genre, self-parody. But we do go on, most of us. And that's where it gets to be hard. I never would have believed that 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago, but it does. It gets hard. And I have days when I think this old word processor stopped running on electricity about 5 years ago, that from the dark half on, it's been running completely on faith. But that's okay. Whatever gets the words across the screen, right? And I think that sums it up pretty well. That the initial burst feels right. That the first few guests, I was like, no, this is what I want the show to be. And after I had those, it felt a little bit like stretching, like I was trying to find a way to continue things in a way that felt natural and organic, because I wanted it to feel true to me and true to the purpose of the show, but the show also has to shift and mold and become something different. Over time, it will naturally change, and I have to be okay with that change, and I have to be okay with trying new things and be okay with those things failing. And I think that failure, or that perceived failure through change, is where a lot of people probably start to drop off. So the faith that he talks about can kind of be whatever you want it to be, whatever that belief is for you, that things will be good, or that things will continue, or that you can do it. And for me, it's about connecting with people in some small way. That's the faith. That's the thing I'm pursuing. But connecting with those people kind of leads into the second reason that most people might stop by the 10th episode, and that's just listeners. Making a show is a lot of work. And if you aren't growing at the rate that you thought or hoped, it can feel disheartening. I can spend hours working on an episode that gets 85 downloads or listens, and then I can also spend 5 minutes on a TikTok that'll get 400 views. And that can make me want to stop, because the comparison of work to recognition or perceived recognition or reach can be disheartening when you feel like the thing you put the majority of your effort into isn't seen as much as the stuff that you just kind of do in one take and throw up on the internet. Yeah, so there are so many shows out there that I feel like are just static on the background, and the goal for me is to never be one of those shows. So pushing through, finding ways to be better with each episode, finding ways to talk about topics that are less talked about, that's really what I'm looking for. So that gets me to the how and the why. And the how is easy. I'm very stubborn. If I set out to do it, I'm going to do it regardless of the recognition most of the time. So very simple for me there. And then the why, because the people that have given me feedback, even in the smallest amounts, it has been positive. People have told me that this show is in some way helpful to them, whether it be a topic I talked about or an idea I put across or something a guest said. Yeah, it gets that simple for me, that if people are finding meaning in it, I want to continue to pursue it. So here we are, episode 10. I've made it further than nearly 75% of all podcasts. And I'm really excited for the things that are coming in the next few weeks. One, I'm talking to one of my favorite podcast show hosts of all time. That's very exciting to me. Number 2, I booked an actor whose work I really love. He's wrapping a movie right now. So we are going to plan to talk sometime next month. And we're going to talk about growing up as a child actor, moving into adulthood and finding his path there, the craft of creating a character, and then also just the highs and lows of that profession. And then lastly, I have been saying for a while, I am a one-man show. That is no longer true. The team is growing. So the look, feel, and quality of the show are all about to improve exponentially. More on that soon. And as always, thanks for listening. Thank you for supporting. Please like, share, rate, review, all the stuff people ask for. It really helps get the show out there, expands my reach. And then when I see that little thumbs up or that heart, that makes me feel good. So please give me a like, repost the show, share it with somebody. I appreciate you.